So, in 2026, Formula One is doing way more than just changing a few rules. We're talking about a complete reboot of its very core. This is the biggest overhaul to the power unit we've seen in over a decade. It's a massive, high-stakes gamble meant to launch the sport into the future. But for all that promise, there's a really serious question right at the heart of it all. The big vision, right, is for a greener, cheaper, and more competitive sport. Sounds great. But hiding just underneath that shiny promise is a huge risk. These exact same rules could trigger an existential crisis for the independent teams. You know, the ones that really are the backbone of the F1 grid. So what's really going on here? To get a handle on the risk, you first have to understand the reward. The people making the rules had this really clear, super optimistic vision for what this new era of F1 could be. And it was all built on three main ideas. And their goals were pretty straightforward. First up, keep the show amazing. The cars still have to be ridiculously fast and exciting to watch. Number two, improve sustainability. And that's not just about greener fuels, but also about making the whole sport financially stable for the long haul. And third, use that new and improved image to bring in the world's biggest car manufacturers. On paper, it's a pretty fantastic pitch, isn't it? Okay, so the biggest changes are happening right here, under the hood, in the power unit. The cars are still going to have a 1.6-liter V6 engine, but the hybrid system that's built around it, that's being completely transformed. Now, at the heart of this whole thing is a major technical swap. F1 is getting rid of the MGU-H. That's the part that recovers energy from the turbo's heat. And it's insanely complex and expensive. So that's out. In its place, they are massively boosting the MGU-K, which is the system that gets energy back when the driver hits the brakes. And on top of that, they're making fully sustainable fuels mandatory. And listen, when I say massively boosting, I really mean it. The electrical power coming from that MGU-K is nearly tripling. It's jumping from about 120 kilowatts to a whopping 350. This completely shifts the balance of power in the car, making that hybrid electric side more important than it has ever been. The other huge piece of this puzzle is the fuel itself. We're talking 100% sustainable fuels. This isn't just some ethanol blend. This is fuel made from things like municipal waste or even carbon literally captured from the air. The whole point is to get to net zero CO2 emissions from the cars, which is a massive leap forward for sustainability. So far, so good, right? A simpler engine, way more electric power, cleaner fuel. What's not to love? Well, here's the twist. For the smaller, independent teams on the grid, this revolution comes with a price tag that could honestly be crippling. See, the core of the problem is that while these new rules are designed to cut costs down the road, the short-term investment needed to get there is just enormous. As the source material puts it, this transition phase may disproportionately burden smaller outfits. So let's break down exactly why that is. The upfront costs are just staggering. Teams have to dump a ton of money into R&D for these new hybrid systems. They have to hire specialist engineers who are now in super high demand, and they've got to pay for all the expensive new testing equipment. Now, I know what you're thinking. What about the budget cap? Well, it doesn't really cover these huge capital costs, and trying to police hidden R&D spending is notoriously tricky. This leads to a brutal compromise. To pay for their 2026 car, smaller teams have to sacrifice development on their current cars, which basically guarantees they'll be slower right here and now. And look, this isn't just a money problem, it's a technical one. It's like an engineering Everest. You have to master completely new ways of deploying energy, figure out how to avoid turbo lag without the MGU-H, and then tune an engine for a brand new type of fuel. It's a monumental task, especially if you're a team that doesn't already have a deep bench of hybrid experts. So when you mix together these immense financial and engineering pressures, a pretty worrying picture starts to take shape. This revolution isn't going to hit all the teams the same way. There are going to be some very clear winners, and, well, some potential losers. You're basically looking at the creation of a brand new pecking order. On one side, you have the huge manufacturer-backed teams. They've got the cash, they've got the resources, and a lot of them have existing know-how from their own electric car programs. And on the other side, you've got the independent, underfunded teams who are at serious risk of being left behind, unable to cross this massive technical and financial gap. So this all brings us to the final and most critical question. What is the Formula One grid actually going to look like come 2026 and beyond? This sport is really at a fork in the road here. The hope, the official line, is for closer, greener racing where everyone has a fighting chance. But the fear, which is a very real one, is that these rules could do the exact opposite. They could blow the performance gap wide open, creating a permanent two-tier championship between the haves and the have-nots. And in the end, that's the billion-dollar question hanging over the entire paddock. Is this the start of a new golden era for Formula One, one that's more sustainable and more competitive than ever? Or is it a revolution that, in its rush to the future, just might leave its most vulnerable teams behind in the dust?